somehow is floating out there. And you simply have to latch onto that and you're good to go. Right? You've all heard, what's the meaning of life? It's out there. I don't believe that. I think the meaning of life is what you make it. I think when you think that there's a meaning of life out there, it gives you an excuse sometimes to be lazy. In other words, it's out there. All I have to do is latch onto it, and it's automatic, ready to go. It absolves you of the hard work to make your life meaningful. And sometimes it does take hard work. I'm going through a PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder, therapy at the Long Beach VA hospital right now. I still have nightmares 44 years after the do it. So, take control of your life. Set goals and work to achieve them rather than relying on some God or some holy book to tell you what to do. Take responsibility. We're leaving time here.
Yeah. Open. Yeah. You get a 2-minute or 1 minute stop.
And not most importantly, I think most people in this room are probably Christians or have a Christian heritage, so I will address that mostly. Not believing that God or the Bible is the source of morality shifts the burden of moral responsibility upon me. In our culture, morality and religion are like this. They're tied together like this. And you folks now are going to college, you're being opened up to a lot of different ideas that you probably didn't hear about when you were a child, like these ideas and my ideas. And some of you are questioning the faith that you were brought up in. And it would probably be an easy jump for you to conclude, well, I don't believe in God anymore, I don't believe in the Bible anymore, therefore I can do anything what I want to do. I can go out and get hammered. I can go out and be reckless. Wrong. I don't believe that for a second. This is a common accusation of atheists, that we have no moral. And that is wrong, wrong, wrong. Let me talk a little bit, just a little bit about Holy Book, the Bible. I think the Bible is, in many ways, a good book, but I also think it's flawed because I am pretty sure it was written by people, inspired by people, not by something out there, not by God. When I took part in this panel discussion about 3 years ago, I started off as I am today, and I mentioned a passage in the New Testament attributed to Jesus. And it says, it's attributed actually to Jesus in Matthew 14, verse 25, and it says this: anyone who comes to me who does not hate, H-A-T-E, hate their mother and their father, their brother and their sister, and their own life cannot be my disciple. How many of you have heard that passage in your Christian church? What, by the pastor? Well, on the panel that day was an elder of the Jehovah's Witness, and he spoke after me, and he answered that. And his answer was, well, it really doesn't mean hate. It means love your family less than God. Well, the fact is the word hate in Greek is M-I-S-E-O, and it means hate. But what you get with biblical apologists is you get all of this rubberizing the Bible. It says A, but it really means B or D or F. Because in order to make the Bible fit with contemporary society and morality and science, you have to rubberize the text. It just doesn't stand by itself. And I could go on and on about that. So where do morals come from? Like us, they evolve. We are not, there's an old Simon and Garfunkel song. I am a rock. I am an island. I touch no one. No one touches me. And I like the song, but I think it's a terrible lyric. Because we're not rocks. We're not islands. We depend on one another. We're social animals, for goodness sakes. No one human being, no one caveman ever took down a mastodon by itself. It took a group effort. That's what makes us work as people. And out of that flows rules, morals, and that sort of thing. And they evolve, and they continue to evolve to this day. In my day, homosexuals were queers, faggots, and mentally ill. That's not true anymore. We're changing for the better in this case. Morals evolve. That doesn't mean they're totally subjective. There are standards that have evolved over time that just simply work. Honesty, trustworthiness, dependability, lacking in malice towards others, the golden rule, which is in just about every religion. These standards are time-tested and true. So not believing Not believing that God is the source of morality puts the responsibility upon me and you as well. Can I have my time, please? 4 minutes.
All right.
Some of you are going to study philosophy here at school, and you're going to go into all the fineries about the arguments for and against God and all of that sort of thing. And I encourage you to do that. I will also encourage you to check out certain websites. There are a lot of good organizations for atheists and secular humanists and free thinkers, whatever you want to call people who don't believe in religion or God in the traditional sense. One of them is called the Center for Inquiry, CFI, as opposed to CSI, Center for Inquiry, and they have a publication called Free Inquiry, and they also have Skeptical Inquirer, which is a group that looks at paranormal claims, UFOs, ESP, all that sort of thing, from a skeptical standpoint, and I encourage you to check that out. Also, here in Pasadena is an organization called the Skeptic Society, and they have incredible lectures at Caltech twice a year, the spring and fall, with some of the most prominent people in sciences. And they tackle all kinds of issues from the standpoint of skepticism, not just creationism, not just the paranormal, but even Holocaust denial, climate change, and all these subjects. So I encourage you to check that out as well. And so in conclusion, I want to be very clear that being an atheist and coming to not accept, perhaps, the tradition of your family, although it may be hard, doesn't need to lead to despair, a sense of hopelessness, and a purposeless life. One can draw meaning from many, many things in life. One can draw inspiration from your fellow human beings. And so you can be spiritual without the supernatural, and you can be good without God. That's my message for you today.
I'd like to thank Adrian for inviting me to join this panel. I'd like to thank Long Beach City College for creating a forum for this. And I'd like to thank all of you for showing up, because how enriching. It's really about all of us. So I just want to start by saying I'm a Zen priest. I don't consider myself a Buddhist. I don't practice Buddhism. Zen really isn't about that. Buddhism is a wide swath of belief. Really, if you want to talk on religion, I think you might want to look more toward Tibetan Buddhism, as we call it, more the Roman Catholicism of Buddhism, with no disrespect intended, just they have religious beliefs that they follow. Zen really isn't about this, and I'm going to go into explaining that. In my judgment, religion is good teaching from enlightened and awakened beings gone wrong. It's been lost. The enlightened one is gone, and misunderstanding well-intentioned and maybe not well-intentioned teachers, then changing the teaching for control, power, whatever it might be. But the teaching has really lost its core. And to me, that's what religion is, and this is why I discarded religion and started searching, wandering through the deserts and reading. And then I came upon Zen, and it was like, oh, all of a sudden things started to resonate within me again. What I want to speak about, I'm going to take a quick run through a big part of what you may know about Buddhism if you know any of the terms, just to get to my point about what I think is utterly critical in beginning a spiritual path, especially along the lines of Zen. When Buddha woke up, he recognized the three marks of existence, and I'm going to jam right through them: impermanence, pain and suffering, and selflessness. So, impermanence, he recognized everything that is one day won't be. One day, we're fighting over this planet. The sun is going to supernova, and this planet is going to vaporize, as if it never existed. And all of our computer records and all of our memories will be gone. So if it's here, it's going to be gone, impermanence. Everything that is will not be one day. Suffering. There's pain and suffering in the world. It's not real tough to see this one. Just look around. And I'll come back to that one. And then selflessness. Sitting deep enough in meditation, Buddha saw clearly the vapor, the illusion of thought, the illusion of ego, playing itself out in the mind, and came to see pure emptiness. You don't exist. Selflessness. And this isn't putting myself down and putting others up and he's so selfless. No. You don't exist. You just think you do. So those are the three marks of existence. The reason I bring them up is the suffering one specifically. Buddha took a look at and said, this is a biggie. And it has been since the beginning of time. Pain and suffering in the world. From these suffering, Buddha came up with the Four Noble Truths. First noble truth, there's suffering in this world. You can see it. Second noble truth, there's a cause to the suffering. Great, because that leads to the third noble truth. If there's a cause, there's a solution.